What's going on, people? Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Football Busters podcast. Today is Wednesday, March 1st, and we've actually got a pretty exciting video. My name is Will. Joining me is my co-host Eric. How you doing today, dog?
I'm feeling good this morning, man. Glad to be on here with you talking some NFL Combine stuff.
Hell yeah. As Eric alluded to, we're getting very close to Combine action, and we're just here to give you guys sort of a preview of the stuff that we're looking forward to seeing, just some stuff to look for and some stuff to just look forward to. And like we try to say, try not to overweigh Combine performances too much, because at the end of the day, they're out there with no pads on. They're just kind of running. And the day is not real football work, but it is just a preview as to what the potential for these players could be if they're able to put everything together at the NFL level. So these aren't necessarily going to be the best players in the Combine, because obviously we're looking for them to perform, but just some of the guys who have physical traits that are going to be very exciting to see out there on the field and on display at the Combine, and potentially guys whose draft stock could rise due to what they do here at the Combine. So yeah, with that being said, Eric, you got anything you want to add to this before we jump into it?
Just another point to not overweighting Combine performance, because I think that's really important. Like, people like to say that the Combine doesn't matter, and that's not true. The Combine definitely matters. It definitely impacts draft capital, which I think is the most important aspect. You know, if somebody runs a really fast speed, the NFL falls in love with that. They get drafted higher. That doesn't change them as a player. They ran that fast in college. They ran that fast on tape. Maybe we just didn't see it. But if it gets their draft capital up, that gets their opportunity up, which is really important for fantasy. So that's something to pay attention to. But trust your own evaluation if you're evaluating these players, or stick with your gut with what you saw and just let these numbers be context for you as we go forward.
Absolutely. And also, right before we jump in, just to name some notable names that aren't going to be performing in the Combine this year due to injury that occurred prior to the Combine. We've got Mr. Kendre Miller out of TCU, Mr. Zach Evans out of Ole Miss, and Dwayne McBride out of UAB. So I believe Zach Evans was a hamstring injury, something minor though. It's not something that should affect him going into the season at all. It's just a precautionary thing. What's going on with Kendre Miller? Because I don't think I heard about this one ahead of time.
I think it's like a minor MCL sprain. Okay. I don't think any of these guys' injuries are anything to worry about long term, or as we head into NFL season next year. It's just, they're not going to try to push it on an injury to perform at the Combine is all. But disappointing that we don't get to see these guys. I was excited for a lot of these names.
Yeah. But, I guess we'll get to just see him perform at the real level, And I believe Zach Evans is doing everything at his pro day.
Yeah. Yep.
So, yeah. But with that being said, we're going to go ahead and jump into the first position group, and we're going to start with the quarterbacks. And one of these is probably one of the most polarizing players. Not really polarizing so much like a Will Levis, but someone that people are looking forward to a lot at the Combine, and that's Mr. Anthony Richardson out of Florida. Just looking forward to seeing the speed, athleticism, but the one thing people are really looking forward to seeing is the arm strength and the arm accuracy in the passing drills, and hoping to see that he has taken that next step with all the work that he's been doing in the offseason.
Yeah, I'm super excited to see him. I think he could really impress some people, like you said, with the speed and athleticism, but I think that's to be expected. That's his calling card. I'm hoping that he looks crisp and clean out there in the passing drills, but again, it's all just context to what we've seen on tape so far, so we don't want to overweight it too much. But since a lot of this is going to be repetitive, like a lot of the reasons these names are on here is because they're going to run fast. They're going to put up blazing numbers in the 40. We decided it'd be fun to talk about their over-unders for their the betting odds for their 40 times. So with Anthony Richardson here, his betting odds are set at 4.45. Do you think he's going to run faster or slower than that?
I think he's going to run faster than the 4.45. I'd really like to see him run faster than the 4.45 too, but I think he can do it, honestly.
Yeah.
Just from the tape I've seen, the game speed, I think he can do it out there on the field with nobody out there.
That'd be pretty wild. He's what, like 235? That's a big boy.
235, 6'4". Yeah, big dude. But just seeing him run like that, I think he could do it.
Yeah. 4.45 I think is a good number. I'm going to go over, but just by a little bit. I think he'll be right about that range.
Like maybe 4.46, 4.47.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
That's still nothing to be disappointed about at all.
Not at all. Not at all.
And then moving on to the next player in the quarterback position to round it out, We're looking forward to seeing Bryce Young. Not so much his performance, but more so what the measurables are for him, what his official measurements are, because we really don't know what his official height and weight are. We've been speculating that he is very undersized, or not very undersized, but at least undersized going into the draft. Probably one of the smaller prospects, especially for a first-round talent. So, yeah, we do want to see what those numbers are going to be and see exactly what we're dealing with in terms of Bryce Young and his size.
Yeah, we're hoping for over 5'10" and potentially like around 190. I'm thinking it might be less than that, but we'll see. And also, I think he's not gonna be throwing at the combine. Pretty
Okay.
sure I heard that. So, not that that matters too much. We've seen plenty from him already. And yeah, it's more the measurables that we're worried about here.
Yeah, makes sense. And then moving on to the running back position group, the first name we have on the list is Mr. Devin Achane out of Texas A&M. Again, a guy who's an absolute burner. Can't wait to see him run the 40. Let's go ahead and go our over-under with the 40 speeds. It's set at a 4.29.
Yeah.
What do you
so
think?
fast.
That's so fast, but what do you
Yeah.
think?
So he's legit like a track star. He ran
Mhm.
track in college and in high school. I don't have the number in front of me, but he ran like a crazy fast 100 meter. I think it was like just over 10 seconds or something like that. Um, I'm gonna go under. I think, again, I think this is a good number. There's some guys that I've seen, like I want to say, Prize Picks has Zach Charbonnet at like a 4.45. I would bet everything that he's gonna go over that. But most of these numbers, I'm happy with. 4.29 seems good to me, but I'm gonna say he's gonna go just under.
Yeah, I'm going to go under also. I could easily see like a 4.26, 4.25, possibly even one of those guys that's pushing for the record. I don't know if anyone's ever going to break that record because 4.22 is ridiculous, but
Yeah, we'll see.
yeah.
We'll see.
But he's one of those guys who could be up there, so keep an eye out. The next person we got is Mr. Sean Tucker out of Syracuse. Also a track athlete and couldn't impress in the 40, but also expecting to weigh in above 205. So they didn't have a 40-yard dash time listed for him when we checked. We actually went with Prize Picks for our checks, if you guys want to check that out. If you guys actually want to place any of these bets, but gamble responsibly, of course. Yeah, so they didn't have anything listed for him. Where do you think Sean Tucker could weigh in at? Or not even weigh in at, but like where he could time out at around in the 40-yard dash time?
So for the 40, I've seen reports, and again, a lot of these are probably hand timed, and so you never know like the validity of this stuff. But reports that even in high school he had run in the 4.3s. And we've talked about this before. Like you get high school reports a lot of time. Like I think Bijan Robinson was clocked at like a 4.7 in high school. Of course, he's going to run way faster than that. He's probably going to run high 4.4s, low 4.5s, somewhere in there. So like, I don't expect that type of progression. Like it's hard to get too much faster than a 4.3, but that's probably going to be in his range of outcomes, is somewhere in that 4.3 area.
Okay. No, that makes a lot of sense. I could see that also.
And then you made the point about his weight. He's been listed at a bunch of different weights depending on where you look.
Yeah,
I'm
I've
looking
seen-
at Syracuse website right now.
I've seen everything from like 195 to 215 in terms of
Yeah.
like what his weight is.
Yeah, so I'm really curious to see what he actually weighs in at. According to the Syracuse athletics page, it says 210. That's right around where I expect him to come in at, maybe like a 212. And I'd be pretty happy with that for his prospects going forward, because that's real close to that ideal 215 mark that we like to see.
Yeah, that makes sense for me. And then we're going to move on to the next prospect, Mr. Keaton Mitchell out of ECU. Another burner. His time is set at a 4.35 in terms of his 40-yard dash time for the over-under. Me personally, I know it feels like I'm going with unders a lot. That'll change. But I'm going with an under for this one strictly because Keaton Mitchell was actually, I believe he was timed or even clocked as the fastest player in college football last year in terms of like in-game speed. He ran at like 22.6 miles per hour, which, doesn't mean a whole lot in terms of 40-yard dash. You don't got anybody out there. There's obviously game factors that'll affect speed.
Right.
But it's the second straight year that he's done it. And I'd like to see him run under a 4.35 if that's the case. You know what I'm saying?
I think at his size, he can get that done. He's another guy that I'm curious to see what he weighs in at, but I think he's listed like in the high 180s.
Mm-hmm.
So a guy that small, like he better be able to fly, or else, what's he gonna do in the NFL? But yeah, I think just under 4.35 is probably a good bet.
Like I'd imagine, like not even like a huge. He's not gonna destroy this number. Maybe like
No,
4.33, 4.34, but I
Yeah.
think he'll be able to shave some off of this. The next running back we have listed on here is Tyjae Spears out of Tulane. He's somebody that we're curious about his 40-yard dash time and what it's going to come out to, because he's not known for being the fastest guy out there, but he's known for being extremely quick. So going out there and seeing his agility drills, like the shuttle, stuff like that, 3-cone drill, love to see what he comes out with in that, but also just curious to see how he ends up in the 40.
Yeah, we didn't see his over/under listed anywhere. I'm sure it's out there. We didn't find it in our quick little look for it. But I would probably expect him to be like mid 4.4s, maybe a little bit under that. What do you think?
Yeah, I could see like a mid 4.4s or high 4.4s possibly, like maybe 4.47, something like that.
Yeah.
But with his quickness at 4.47, with the way that he moves, it's gonna be dangerous.
It would be ridiculous.
Yeah. And then moving on to the last running back we had to put Bijan on here. It's a late addition that I made just because I do want to see what time he ends up running. We all know he's the best running back in this class, hands down. There's no debate. This isn't going to change anything in terms of where he's going to land. But I just want to see what he ends up running, because if he ends up running like a high 4.4, I feel like that's a dub. That's a big dub, because I'm expecting somewhere in the 4.5s. What about you, Eric?
So we have his listed over under at 4.47. Again, I feel like that's a good number. I think high 4.5s, or like you said, high 4.4s or low 4.5s is what I expect. So I think I'm on your side. I'll probably go a little bit over this number, but that's not a bad thing by any means, especially at his size, like 225, 220, whatever it is. He's got plenty of speed.
Yeah, he's an absolute beast regardless. Yeah. But I do see like a 4.49, 4.51 type of finish right here, honestly.
Yeah.
And now we're going to start with the wide receiver group. Pretty exciting group this year. To kick it off, we've got Quentin Johnston out of TCU. And his 40-yard dash time is set at a 4.44, angel numbers. How do you feel about that, Eric? Over or under?
I'm going to go over. I think he's fast, but I think, again, surprisingly for a guy his size and how tall he is, 6'4", like typically you don't get guys like that are super quick and twitchy. I think that's probably more the highlight of his game than his long speed, although I do think he'll be plenty fast.
Yeah, I don't think Quentin Johnston's biggest draw is his speed, I think it's underrated, but at the same time, I do think he will end up going over that 4.44 as well.
Yeah,
so I'm taking the over there. Next receiver we have listed is Mr. JSN, Jackson Smith-Njigba out of OSU. We couldn't find an over-under set for his 40-yard dash time, unfortunately, but we're looking to see him run under a 4.5, because if he does that, look out. But if he doesn't and he still runs in those 4.5s, he's still going to be the same player that people have been, looking at, the same prospect, essentially. If he runs under, he just gets even better, honestly.
We talked about this in our player profile for him. We comped him. There's a bunch of comps that you can make, but two guys that I thought were fairly similar were like Keenan Allen and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Both of those guys ran, I think Amon-Ra ran like a 4.61. Keenan ran like a 4.71. And, they're still immensely successful at the NFL level. We'll see if he has like a Justin Jefferson type ascension, where people saw Justin Jefferson as, strictly a slot guy. He had good production, but he didn't seem that fast. And then he came out at the combine, and I think he ran a 4.41. So if JSN can run anywhere near that, we're talking about, superstar type quality. But yeah, I think he's probably in the 4.5 range. But I'm hoping to see lower than that.
Yeah, because if you can pull that off, like you said, it just takes him up that next level. Next receiver we got on the list is probably Eric's most overrated receiver going into this. We got Mr. Jalen Hyatt out of Tennessee. His over-under was set at 4.3. Jalen Hyatt, of course, one of those burners out there as well. What do you think about this one, Eric? Over or under?
Again, I think this is a good number. It's tough for me to pick here. He's not overrated because I don't think he's fast. This is the one thing I think he's got going for him. think the smart bet is probably just over. Um, but I mean, yeah, why not? I'll say he's probably closer to like a 4.31, 4.32 guy.
Okay, that sounds good to me. But honestly, being real with you, I think I'm gonna go under. I'm gonna go
Okay.
under. I know it's not the safest bet with like a 4.3, but I'm gonna go under just because I see this guy's draft stock just going up during the combine. I see this being one of the things that he does that just raises it. It's just
For
gonna
sure.
he's gonna surprise some people out there, I feel like. And
Which, so that's, I want to bring that back up again. We mentioned at the beginning of the video, that's exactly the point I'm trying to get at. We don't love Jalen Hyatt. We don't love his total production profile. We don't love his tape. But we know that his athletic measurables, that stuff is going to be really impressive. And so if he goes out and beats a 4.3, he runs in the 4.2s, he's going to get drafted in the first round.
Yep.
And that means opportunity. Even though it doesn't change him as a player, he's still the same guy. He's going to get more opportunity, which is going to change his fantasy outlook.
Yep. So definitely keep an eye out for that 40-yard dash time because it could be a game changer in terms of your rookie league drafts.
Yep.
Next we got up is Tyler Scott out of Cincinnati. His 40 time also set at a 4.30. What do you think about this one?
I'm going to say under. He's just a burner. Again, similar. I think he's kind of a one-trick pony also. He's a little bit smaller than Jalen Hyatt. And yeah, I've just seen him separate like crazy from DBs across his tape. And so, yeah, I'm going to go under by just a little bit here.
I'm going to also agree with that and go under. I feel like I had seen somewhere that he had been clocked once before at like a 4.29 or something like that. I feel like I had seen that somewhere when I was doing a little bit of research because I don't know a whole lot about Tyler Scott. I'm not a big, Cincinnati college football fan. But but I feel like I did see something like that. So I feel like I could go with a cheeky little under on this one as well.
I dig it. Yeah,
Cheeky
I'm with
little
you.
under. Next up, we got Mr. Nathaniel Tank Dell out of Utah. His over-under is set at a 4.4.
Yeah, so for him, I think his draw, again, is going to be more agility-based in his shuttle and his three-cone drills and stuff like that. He is fast, like you said, a 4.4. I hope he goes under, because as much as I like his film, as much as I think he's incredibly quick, and, he beats a ton of DBs on his tape, it'd be tough for me to draft a guy that weighs less than me and also runs over a 4.4. Like, that's crazy, bro.
Yeah, that would be kind of nuts at that point. It's like, yeah, you might as well just pick up Eric at that point, Might be a little bit more durable. Might be able to get around out there.
Skinny. I'm a skinny guy, all right? Like, I'm not trying to hide it. And if you're going into the NFL, like, come on, bro. You got to weigh more than me. Come on.
But I think I'm gonna end up going over on a Tank. It's like you said, you want to see him run faster than this because it's gonna be like his one chance to really get in there. So he's really gonna he's gonna go for it. But I don't know. I feel like I've seen some reports that said he ran like a 4.45, and you're hoping for a faster time than that, like you said.
Yeah. We'll see.
And the next we got up Mr. Jonathan Mingo out of Ole Miss. We actually don't have a 40-yard dash time for him as well. It wasn't listed, but what do you feel about Mr. Mingo?
So he's not a guy that we've talked about too much on the channel. I didn't love his tape. He went to Ole Miss, so you can make the easy comps if you want to, like the AJ Browns and the DK Metcalfs, just because he's a really, really big dude and he's super athletic. He can fly. I think he probably will run somewhere in like the high 4.3s, even though I think he's listed at like 225.
6'2", 225.
But that's like all he's got. He's got one route, one speed, and he's good at that, and that's it. So I hope he runs fast.
Yeah, it's like you said, with guys like that, where they're kind of one trick, you kind of hope that one trick is really good. But
better be.
Yeah. And then we're going to move on to the tight end group. This one's going to be pretty short and sweet. We only got 3 guys listed here. Starting off with the tight end 1 so far, Mr. Michael Mayer out of Notre Dame. We kind of just want to see how slow he's going to be honest with you. This is one of those ones where we hope he surprises us. We'd like to see him do better than a 4.7, but you never know, because they've made a really big point out of this guy not being that fast. What do you think about this one? I don't think, even if he does run like a 4.7 or a little bit over, does this knock Michael Mayer down in the tight end rankings for you at all?
It won't knock him down.
Yeah.
Dalton Kincaid is climbing for me, so it's possible that by the end of all this, he ends up as my tight end one. But it's not going to be because Michael Mayer ran slow. That's not going to be the reason that he falls down the list for me. I will say that like most of the relevant tight ends in the NFL, at least for fantasy purposes, run 4.7 or better. The ones that are above that really aren't that relevant, and so I don't think that that's necessarily like a barometer, like an end all be all type situation, but just worth noting.
That makes sense. That makes sense. It's like you said that we've seen a lot of slow tight ends thrive in the league as well. So like, yeah, I can see that for sure. And then moving on to the next prospect we got Mr. Darnell Washington out of UGA. Someone I'm not super high on myself, but I don't know. People are saying that he may run somewhere in the 4.6s at over 270 pounds, which is absolutely ridiculous. And if he does that, his draft stock is going to skyrocket. It's absolutely going to skyrocket. I've seen some people talk about if he runs a 4.6, he could get picked in the top 20, could be picked in the top 25. Just in terms of the actual NFL draft, he could go 25th overall or higher, which is crazy at tight end.
That'd be nuts.
For a non-receiving tight end as well, mind you.
Somebody who in his career I think has barely had over 40 receptions at the position. I'm starting to lean towards your end of the spectrum on Darnell Washington. I'm moving him down my list for sure. If you haven't seen our tight end rankings video, I'd recommend that. Will made some really good points there about Darnell Washington, so I would check that out. But I do think he can get this done. I think he's an athletic freak. I think he can probably run in the mid to high 4.6s at 272 pounds. It's crazy.
Fucking crazy. But like I said, don't let what I say completely deter you from Darnell Washington, because if he is able to do this, it does show that he is a freak athlete. It's just, and he will be out there on the field because he can block extremely well. So he will be out there on the field. He will have opportunity. It's just a matter if the team uses him like that or not. And I just got to see that.
Right.
And then moving on to the last tight end we have listed on here, we got Mr. Luke Musgrave, probably one of the most athletic tight ends in this year's draft. I believe in terms of athletic profiles, in terms of like the complete draft, he's one of those guys that's like way up there in terms of like full athletic profiles. And people are hyping him up to be a freak athlete, so we're going to see this combine if he's going to live up to that billing. And do you think he's going to? Because personally, like from what I've seen, I think so.
I'm a little bit hesitant. You know, again, we don't have like the over under on his speed or his shuttle drills or anything like that. So I'm not sure exactly what we're basing it off of. Just kind of the speculation and hype that he's super athletic. I watched his tape. He's definitely athletic, but he didn't like wow me the way that people are talking about it. So I guess I'm a little bit more pessimistic than maybe you are, but I'm sure he'll do fine.
It's a crazy job. No, but I could absolutely see that. I think that when it comes to the tight ends, it's Michael Mayer and then kind of a lot of everybody else. In terms of like the higher tier tight ends, they're kind of in the same group for me. Michael Mayer's like a half step above, just in terms of receiving talent. But I think that Luke Musgrave could be one of those guys that pans out really well. Like you said, Dalton Kincaid also could pan out really well. I'm excited to see this year's tight end class, honestly.
For sure. It's a really exciting one. It's a deep group.
Hell yeah. But that's going to bring us to the end of our list. It's going to wrap things up. If you guys made it this far into the video, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you guys do all that great YouTube stuff, like hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. That way you guys can know when we drop our newest videos. Also hit that like button. It's absolutely free and it's the best way to help us out. And also I've loved the community engagement as of late. You guys have been awesome with commenting and just letting us know what you think about the videos. Let us know everything you think and let us know any questions you have, because we will be active in the comments. We'll be answering stuff. So yeah, Eric, you got anything for the people before we roll out?
Just, it's combine time, man. Get hyped, get excited. I'm crazy excited for it. All of the offensive players are going to be the weekend, Saturday, Sunday. So get ready. We're going to be posting updates as we go, and then, you know, into next week and stuff like that. So come back to our channel. We'll break it all down for you. But that's all I got.
Hell yeah. So if you guys made it this far, thank you for watching, and we love you. And we will catch you in the next one. Peace.
Peace.